sorry, guys.
She said she just.
I had to tell them face to face. Now, there were still a lot of extra gains in here, but I only told, like, I think those that increased by 7 or 8, but you'll know when I bring your scores back together on Thursday. So anyways, great job, you guys. Keep up the good work. If you did not make the goals that you were hoping you would, we still have this Saturday's test and the following Saturday's test to see some improvement. So you're gonna be just fine. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into the math section. We don't want to waste any more time today. Miss Just was tardy. Oh my. So let's go ahead and open our book to page 92. Oh gosh, 92. We can get focused a little bit. Okay. So just a quick reminder, your math section of the ACT is 60 minutes for 60 questions. So what does that automatically tell you about your time?
You got a minute.
1 minute per question. And is every math problem going to be so easy you can get it done in 1 minute?
No.
So is it important for us to do now, later, and never?
Yeah.
Very important. If it looks crazy, what are you going to do?
Okay.
B, move on, we got things to do, right? Or whatever the letter is that's your favorite. Okay, so with that information, let's go ahead and take a look at this bubbles section here at the top of page 92. This literally tells you exactly the type of questions that are going to be asked and how many there are. Okay, so the number and quantity questions, there's about 4 to 6. We'll dive into each of these in just a little bit. Algebra is 7 to 9. I think everybody in here, whether you're in 9th grade or higher, you've already taken algebra, right?
Yes.
So automatically, you should get 7 to 9 questions correct. Okay? Functions is 7 to 9 questions. That was also in your algebra unit, so you should be good. Geometry, some of you haven't taken it yet. If you are only in 9th grade, you haven't gotten there, but I'm going to give you the quickest, easiest, and best introduction to geometry. You're going to tell your geometry teacher next year, you know what, Miss Jess got me. I don't think I need you today. I'm just kidding. But that's how you're going to feel after today, okay? And then lastly, statistics and probability. The integrating skills means that there are some that have a combination of both. So you've got about 24 to 26 that might be a little bit of a combination, but as long as you understand these, which you will after we go over them today, you'll be just fine, okay? And then finally, modeling, kind of like science, it's like charts, graphs, things that give you a visual. There's about 15 of those. You guys okay so far? Okay. Let's talk about calculators real quick. Do you get to use the calculator on the day you take the ACT? Yes. But do you accidentally get confused when you're entering negative numbers in your calculator?
No.
Well, let's figure that one out, because actually 80% of my previous students, yes, 80% of my previous students have made a mistake with the calculator. Oh my. Okay, let's turn off just one. Is this better?
Yeah.
On the other room, is this better? Yes? Okay. Can they see? They can. Okay, perfect. All right, so what is the value of blah, blah, blah when x is -1? So what am I doing with this value of x?
Plugging it in.
I'm just going to plug it in, right? But if I just randomly plug it in, and I forget to put the parentheses around my negative number, what is going to happen in my calculator? It's going to give me the wrong answer. How important is it in your calculator to use parentheses correctly? Very important. If you forget how to use the parentheses in your calculator, you're going to get a very easy question wrong. So if you're putting a fraction or you're putting a negative number in your calculator, surround it with what? Parentheses. That's easy. As long as you remember that rule, you're going to be A-okay. All right. Let's see. We're going to keep going to the next page. Let's go ahead and flip to page 95. I'm going to teach you a strategy called ballparking it. Okay, it says there are 600 school children in Lakeview District. If 54 of them are high school seniors, what is the percentage of high school seniors in the Lakeville District? So out of 600, I only have how many? 54. Is that a lot of the 600, or is it a little
A
of the
little.
600? A little. So is it 90%?
No.
What do I do with E?
Cross it.
Cross it off. How easy was that ballpark figure? Okay? Do you remember an easy percentage? Do you remember 10%? If I take 10% of a number, how many places do I move a decimal?
2. No, 1.
One. So if I take 10% of 600 and I only move the decimal one time, how much is 10% of 600?
60.
60. So 10% is 60. Is that number kind of close to 54?
Yes.
So should my percentage be kind of close to 10%?
Yes.
What am I going to do with this one?
Cross it off.
Boom. What am I going to do with this one?
Cross it.
Oh! Did I just narrow it down to a 50-50 chance? I went from having not really a clue to in my brain not even using my calculator, figuring out which one was probably going to be the best choice. Even if you wanted to stop right here and just pick C or D, you're fine. 50% chance you're probably okay. Could you use the calculator and really get the right answer? Sure. But for right now, we're just going to say we kind of figured it out, we're moving on. Good? So how do you feel about ballpark? Pretty easy? Okay, now let's flip it to the top of page 97. Okay, number 8 is a word problem. Are you gonna see a lot of word problems on the math section?
Yeah.
Do you love word problems with all your heart? Ugh, said no one ever, right? Word problems are big, okay? But I'm gonna give you a few strategies to break down some word problems.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
you.
All right. So the first thing in a word problem that you absolutely have to know is what is the question itself asking you? Not all the blah, 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 blah. I only want to know the question. Okay, so blah, 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 blah. But I only care about if the club has 36 members, how many of the members chose to what?
Plant trees.
Plant trees. Do I care about picking up trash?
No.
Or about cleaning the school bus? No. What do I care about? Planting trees. So when you take your test on Saturday, know the question. Don't get confused. Don't answer the other part of the question. Answer the question it's asking. Okay, so we're going to break this one down little bits and pieces at a time. Okay? The first thing we need to know is the total number of members. How many did they tell me?
36.
I have 36 total members. Now we're going to go up to the top and start in order. Let's break it down piece by piece. Okay? Each member in the club had to choose an activity for a day of volunteer work. 1/3 of the members chose to pick up trash. I had 36 total, and 1/3 of them are picking up trash. Does everybody see what I just did? I turned my total into a fraction because this number was a fraction. Are we okay with what I just did?
Yes.
Okay, so when I did that, I'm going to multiply this together. Okay, but technically, what does 36 on the top and 3 on the bottom really tell me to do? Divide. 36 divided by 3 is, I heard it.
12.
Yes, and remember you have a calculator. If you need to use your calculator at any point today, 100% permission, okay? So 12 people chose to what? Pick up trash. We got trash. 12 people, okay? That's piece number 1. How do you feel about that calculation? Easy,
Easy.
right? Very good. Then, 1/4 of the, what is this word right here? Remaining members. Does it say 1/4 of the people who picked up trash? So I'm not using this number. It says 1/4 of the members who remain. How many total did I start with?
36.
And how many picked up trash?
12.
What do I do with those two numbers to find out
Subtract.
remain? Subtract. 36 minus 12 is? Great. 24 are left. 24 remain. Would you have forgotten that step or gotten confused without me?
Yes.
Maybe so. You might have said 1/4 times 12. Oh, thank you, that's easy, that's 3. And you would have kept going and you'd be like, what do I do now? We messed it up, okay? Pay careful attention to what it tells you. Remaining means I had to subtract the difference. Okay, so we have 24, and how much am I taking now to paint the fences? 1/4, right? So here we go, 1/4. How do I turn 24 into a fraction?
1.
Over 1. And because I'm multiplying, but I have a top and a bottom, what does it really mean?
Divide.
Divide. What is 24 divided by 4? 6 of them, very good, chose to paint the fence. 6 chose to paint the fence. Okay, that's another piece. We're not done yet. 5/6 of the what? Remaining members. So I had 24, and how many am I taking away now? 24 minus 6 is 18. Very good. 18, and now 5/6 of them are going to clean the school bus, right? Okay, so this one looks a little bit confusing, but it's not that bad. If I have 2 numbers on the top, what do I do with them? Multiply. So in your calculator, 18 times 5.
90.
Very good. 90 over 6, and in your calculator, 90 divided by 6.
15.
Very good. 15 people, that's a lot, chose to clean the buses. 15 chose to clean the buses. Okay, that's piece number 3. We are almost done. The rest of them chose to what? That's what I need. The rest of them chose to plant trees. So I had 18. 15 of them are cleaning the buses. What's left?
3.
Ah, how many chose to plant trees?
3.
Ding, 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 ding. You feel better about that horrible, awful looking word problem? So you had to identify the question, and you had to break it down one piece at a time. But do you feel confident that you could do that one on your own if you tried it by yourself?
Yes.
Oh, no? No.
Now, after we went over the strategy, you feel okay?
Yes.
Excellent. I hope that boosts your confidence, because even though we think math is hard, if we take it one step at a time, it's really not that bad. Okay? And you have your math expert here. I am the biggest math nerd of all time. Might not look like it, but I love math. So if you have math questions, you just ask me. That is what I'm here for. Okay? All right, let's flip it. We're done with the intro. That's the intro to math, okay? Let me remind you of your homework from Saturday. Does everybody remember the crazy, Miss Jess, your crazy page 102 to 120 what? Homework from Saturday? We're not even gonna take the time to grade it because it would take too long, but I do wanna give you a very big hint on page 125. Ding, 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 ding. On page 125, what does it give you?
Just answer to
On your own, later this week, tonight, whatever. What do I probably want you to do?
Grade it.
Grade it. And if you got anything wrong, a good idea is trying to figure out what you missed and how to fix it, okay? Are we gonna waste time doing it today? No. But if you wanna put a little, like, fold your page down or something like that so you remember, I do want you to check your answers on your own at some point this week. Everybody okay?
Yes.
Sometime before Saturday, because what are we doing Saturday? Test. Very good. Okay, let's keep flipping. Algebra. Everybody in here has experienced algebra, and everybody in here loves it. Just kidding.
What page was that?
Algebra? Oh, sorry, page 130, yes, 130. Page 130. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a new strategy that none of your math teachers have ever taught you before because it doesn't help them, okay? Your algebra teacher, or your math teacher currently, wants to see you show your work. Does that sound familiar? If they say, I don't see any work, what do they do with your answer? Boom, boom. Does the ACT care about your work?
No.
Who cares? They only say pick the right answer and move along, right? So the strategy today is Miss Jess is going to say, forget everything your math math teacher tells you, shh.
Already.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some really big and easy hints. The first one is called plug it in. Okay, we're gonna pick a number, an easy number, whatever makes our life easy, and we're gonna plug it into the problem. All right, so let's take a look at this example. John has X red pencils, 3 times as many red pencils as blue, 4 more yellow than blue, and then in terms of X, how many yellow pencils does John have? Oh my gosh, I don't care, right? Is that the first thing in your head? Who cares, Miss Jess? Okay, but here's a huge hint for you. If there's a variable in the question, does everybody see X in the question?
Yeah.
And there's variables in the answers. Everybody sees these variables. I can pick a random easy number and plug it in. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna randomly pick a number for X that tells me how many red pencils, okay? I'm gonna randomly pick the number 3. Are we okay so far? Random, 3 is probably easy to calculate with, right? 2, 1, 3, something easy, okay? So let's go ahead and write down X equals 3. I just randomly picked it, okay? So if my X is 3, then how many red pencils do I have? 3 red pencils, because I picked them randomly. Are we okay so far? Then I have to take it piece by piece, right? Oh no, oh no, oh no. Come back to me. Okay, there we go. I have 3 times as many red as I do blue. So my next one that I need to calculate is how many blue pencils do I have? Here we go, focus. I have 3 times as many red as blue. Does that mean I'm gonna multiply blue times 3? No, I have 3 times more red. So what does that tell me to do for blue? Divide it. 3 divided by 3 is how much? Just 1 blue pencil, right? If I have 1 blue pencil and I have 3 times that many for red, are we okay so far? Very good. So I randomly picked the number 3, and then I had 3 times as many red as blue, so I got 1. Now I need to find my yellow, and here's what the section says. If he has 4 more yellow than blue, 4 more than blue is how much? 5. Was this all easy calculations? Okay, but we're not done yet. Here's what we're gonna do. My question asked me how many yellow pencils, right? We always want to know what the question says. How many yellow pencils? 5. This is my target answer. That means when I plug my X into my answers, what number do I have to get? 5. Okay, so let's try it. Remember, I randomly picked 3. Now I'm gonna plug it into all my answers, and I have to get what number?
5.
Here we go. 3 plus 4 equals, is that 5? Cross it out. Okay, 3 plus 7 equals, is that 5? Cross it out. 3 divided by 6 equals 1/2. Is that 5?
No.
Cross it out. 3 plus 12 equals
15.
15 divided by 6 equals not 5, right? And finally, 3 plus 12 equals
15.
15 divided by 3
It's 5.
equals, oh, did you have to like X equals this, and then X plus 1, and then X plus 3, and did you have to do any of that? Thank goodness, no. Could you pick a random number and plug it in? Do you feel better? So let's put this into practice. Let's try another one because I want to see if you really feel like you got it, okay? Remember the 2 things that it has to have. If I'm going to plug a random variable in, it needs to have a variable in the question, and it needs to have variables in the answers. And if that's the case, I plug it in, I solve to get my target. You guys okay?
Good.
Okay, good. So let's try a new one. Let's flip it now to the bottom of page 132. All right. This one's hard to see, so I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna rewrite it just so it's easier to see. 3x squared minus 7x minus 6 over x minus 3. Okay, so this is my question. Does it have a variable?
Yeah.
Yes. And does it have variables in the answers?
Yes.
So can I pick a random number?
Yes.
Very good. But here's what the question says. For everything where x is not 3. So can I randomly pick the number 3 this time?
No.
But what else is easy that I could pick?
2.
2. I love it. So let's randomly plug in 2 every time we see an x in our question. Here we go. 3. Don't forget parentheses. Even if it's not a negative number, keep the parentheses so you know what the operation is, okay? So we got 3, 2 squared, minus 7 times 2, minus 6, over over 2 minus 3. Everybody got 2 plugged in? Okay, so we want to be very careful that we follow PEMDAS, right? According to PEMDAS, what am I going to do first? Parentheses first. In this case, the parentheses are just basically multiplication. All right, so what's the next letter of PEMDAS?
Exponent.
Exponents. Do we have an exponent here?
Yeah.
What am I going to do with it?
So
2 squared is how much?
4.
4. So I'm basically just going to replace this number now with the number 4. You okay so far? Now we can do everything kind of in order. Remember, multiplication first. 3 times 4 is 12. Very good. If you don't remember, use your calculator. No problem. Minus, don't do anything with it. Bring it down. Minus 7 times 2.
14.
14. Very good. Minus 6 all over. What is 2 minus 3? -1. Don't get confused on the negatives. Plug it into your calculator just in case. Everybody right now, put 2 minus 3 and tell me what you get. Very good. Is your calculator your best friend? Yes. Okay, so far, are we okay? Now, let's take our subtraction very carefully. 12 minus 14, 4 in your calculator, is how much? -2. So -2 minus 6. Very good. -8. If you are using your calculator, put parentheses around your negatives. Remember, -2 minus 6 should give you how much? -8. Are we okay so far? Over, what's still in my denominator? -1. I have a negative in the top, a negative in the bottom. What happens?
Positive.
Positive what?
8.
Positive 8. That's my target answer, right? That's the answer that I have to get when I plug this number, when we said x equals 2. When I plug this number into my answers, what number do I have to get? 8. So let's try it. 3 times 2 is how much? 6 plus 2 is
8.
ding, ding, ding. If you don't believe me, could we keep going?
Yeah.
3 times 2 is 6 minus 2 is
4.
not the right answer. Boom. I'm not going to waste your time. Does everybody feel good with plugging it in and finding your target? Cool. Are you going to be able to do this on your own on Saturday?
Yes.
Love it. And I love how hard you guys are working. Do you feel a little bit better about math in general, Miss Jess?
Absolutely.
Yes.
There you go. There you go. Okay. So let's keep flipping. All right. Question number 36. Does question 36 have variables in the question?
Yes.
Does it have variables in the answer?
Yes.
What would Miss Jess want you to do?
Look.
Pick a number, plug it in, right? We're gonna go really quickly, okay? Bloody, bloody, blah. What does the question actually say?
Which of the following gives students final score?
Which of the following gives the students final score in the class, okay? So it says there are 3 exam scores that are averaged, and the resulting score is then averaged with the exam score, blah, blah, blah. A, B, and C are my exam scores. What easy numbers could I pick for A, B, and C?
1, 2,
1, 2, 3.
Okay, let's try 2, 3, 4, just in case. Sometimes 1 is like, sometimes 1 can throw us off. It's so easy, let's not use 1. Let's always use 2 and above, okay? So if we said A is 2, B is 3, and C is 4. All right. Then, okay. What did I do on my target? Oh, I averaged them. Okay, so it says A plus B plus C, and how many total exams did I take? 3 of them, so how do I find the average of that? Divide it by 3. Very good. So if I do that, I'm going to get my target answer. Okay, so here we go. We said A was 2, B is 3, and C is 4, and all of that will then be divided by 3. So 2 plus 3 gives me 5, and 5 plus 4 gives me 9. Very good. And 9 divided by 3 gives me 3. This is going to be my target answer, okay? Or 3, I'm sorry, 3 is going to give me my final score, right? It said I average them, then I take that average and I average it with the final score. So this is my average right now of the first 3. Now I have to find my final score, which I'm still going to plug a random number in, right? Which one could I use for a final score?
5.
Let's just use 5. Okay, so we're going to take this average, 3, we're going to add it to our final score, which is 5, and then how do I take the average of those 2 numbers? Divided by 2. Very good. Are we okay so far? Then 3 plus 5 is 8, and 8 divided by 2 is
4.
Very good. This one is my official target answer because I followed every piece of the question. Why is 3 not my final answer? Because it's just part of it. It only took the first 3 exams and it forgot to include the average of the final. Okay, so I had to go one step further. Take that average plus my final score, take the average of those 2. This is my official target score. So let's review. A is 2, B is 3, C is 4. What was my final score? Final score we randomly picked was 5. Can I plug all of those numbers into my answers to get 4? Okay, let's try it. Here we go. 2 plus 3 plus 4 over, does that say 3?
Yeah.
Yes, very good. Over 3. Plus my final score was 5. Okay, let's try it. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9 divided by 3 is 3. So 3 plus 5 equals, is that 4? What do I do with it? Cross it out. Okay, let's try G. 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 times my final score, which was 5, all over 6. Okay, 2 plus 3, 5 plus 4. Now, this is all 9. I have to do my multiplication first, right? 3 times 5 is
15.
So 9 plus 15 is how much? 24. Divided by 6 is?
4.
Is that my target answer? Ding, 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 ding. I'm done. I'm not even going to waste time anymore. The 60 minutes is going too fast. But do you see that if I picked easy numbers and I plug it in and I get my target, I'm done? Yes? This one was a little bit tricky because it was a 2-part question, right? We could have stopped here, but we would not have gotten the right answer. Make sure that you follow every piece of the question. Even Miss Just gets confused sometimes. But just take it slow. If you're going to take the time to plug it in, be careful, okay? All right. Let's keep flipping to 136. 136. All right. So I just told you about plugging in. This strategy here was plugging in a number, right? The next strategy I'm going to teach you about, which is right here, we're going to rename it PITA. PITA, because it's a new strategy that still talks about plugging in, but it's now plugging in the answer. No longer am I picking a random number and plugging it in. What am I going to plug in now?
Answer.
One of the answer choices. Okay, so my first strategy, I'm just going to remind you, was plug it in. Plug in. That means I pick it and I plug it in somewhere. But my second strategy is now called PITA, which means I'm plugging in an answer choice. Okay, and with this rule is something that you have to do. You are always going to start with the middle answer. So in this case, which one is the middle answer? H. And let's talk about why we always start with the middle answer, okay? Are they in order, by the way?
Yes.
Least to greatest or greatest to least, as long as they're in order, we're gonna start with the middle answer. Here's why. If I plug in 8% and it's too big, what do I automatically do?
Cross it out.
Cross off everything else that's too big. Ah, I now have a 50-50 chance. Did I just save a whole lot of time? Very good. If I plug in 8 and it was too small, what does that tell me?
Cross out.
Cross off everything else up top. Boom, boom, 50-50 chance. Do you already feel better? Did you ever know this before?
No.
Very good.
Are they all in order?
They will usually be in order. If for some reason they're not in order, are we going to do PITA?
No.
Probably not, because then it doesn't save us a whole lot of time. You're still going to have to choose every answer and plug it in. If it doesn't save you time, don't do it. It's got to be in order, okay?
If it wasn't in order, we could probably put it in order.
Yes, you're right. Like if it wasn't in order, but you could at least order it yourself and then still save yourself some time, do that. But if you're freaking out and you're like, oh my gosh, that doesn't look like it's in order, I don't have time, B, move on, right? Yes.
And if when there is 4, what letter would be the middle?
So the great thing about math is, it's the only section that always has 5 answers. If you remember on your bubble sheet, your answer document, the math section goes all the way to letter E every time. All right, so there's always 5 answers on the math section. So there will always be a middle answer. You guys okay with that? Very good. Okay, yes, it'll always go to either E or K. All right, so let's officially try this problem. Number 2, you're gonna wanna use your calculator, okay? If $600, yes, I'll take that, was deposited into my bank account for 1 year, and it earned interest of exactly $42, what was the interest rate? Okay, so notice, all of my answers are in percents, but do I use percents in my calculator? What's the rule to convert a percent to a decimal every time?
Move the decimal to the
Move the decimal how many times?
twice.
2 places to the
Right. Left.
left every time. Okay, so if you forgot that rule, you're going to have a lot of questions about percents. Always move it 2 places to the left every time. Okay, so which answer choice, if they're in order, am I going to start with?
H.
Answer choice H. Before we do any calculations, I need to convert that percent to a decimal. So what happens? What does it convert to? 0.08. Now be careful how many zeros you put in front. We only moved it twice, okay? Boom, boom. It left 1 spot there, so 0.08. We're okay so far? Okay, I am literally gonna take the number that was deposited into my account, 600, and I'm going to multiply it by 0.08, and I want you to tell me what you get in your calculator. 600 times 0.08. 48? Okay, and what does it tell me that I really need?
42.
So what happened with letter H?
Cross it out.
Too big, cross it out, and what else does it tell me I need to do?
J and K.
J and K are way, way too big. Are we good so far? Now let's keep going, let's go directly to G. Okay, when I move my decimal, I now have 0.07, so I want you to plug it in. 0.07 times 600, tell me what you get.
42.
Oh my gosh, is that what I need? Ding, ding, ding. That only took you like 30 seconds because you only had to try 2 answers. Was that really easy?
Yes.
Now what if, yeah, go. What if you said, Miss Jess, how did you know to multiply? Okay? Let's just pretend you didn't know and you tried to divide. All right? If we said, oh, 600 is a big number, maybe I should divide 600 by 0.08. Can you go ahead and plug that in your calculator? 600 divided by 0.08. What do you get? 7,500. Is that anywhere near where I need to be?
No.
So that should automatically tell you, you know what, my operation is probably really wrong. Because there's no way the middle answer is going to be that far off. Now maybe the last answer could be that far off, but the middle answer will never be that much of a difference. So let that be your red flag. Uh-oh, I did the wrong calculation. If I don't divide, what should I probably do? Multiply. You guys okay? Okay, very good. Let's try another one with some money. Okay, let's take a look at number 49 on the next page, 138. Okay, does it have my answer choices in order?
Yes.
Oh, yes! Very good. So that means which one am I going to start with?
H.
I'm going to start with C or H. Very good, the middle one. But I have to know what the question is asking. Remember, it's a word problem and it's confusing. So blah, 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 blah. Then, how many what? Pennies. So if I'm taking this middle answer, 18, 18 is talking about what? Pennies. Do you already feel better that you know what you're talking about? I got 18 pennies. So I'm going to start from the beginning and I'm going to list it out according to 18 pennies. Are we ready? In a piggy bank, there are pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. They have to total $2 and what? $2.17. If they total more than that, is it going to be the correct answer? No. Okay? If there are 3 times as many pennies as there are dimes. Okay, so we said we have 18 pennies. 18 pennies, but I also want to know the monetary value. If I have 18 pennies, how many cents is that?
18 cents.
18 pennies is 18 cents, right? 18 pennies, 18 cents. We're okay so far?
Yes.
Okay, then it says there are 3 times as many pennies as there are dimes. What does that tell me to do?
Multiply by 3.
Does it say
Divide
multiply
by
by 3 or
3.
divide by 3?
Divide by 3.
Because there's 3 times as many, which means there's more pennies than dimes. So 18 divided by 3 is actually how much? 6 dimes. And how much monetary value is 6 dimes?
60 cents.
60 cents. 0.60. We okay so far?
Yes.
Okay, then the next one, so I'm going to cross off this part.
Why are we putting the decimal?
So I know it looks kind of like multiplication. It's not. This is just us kind of keeping our thoughts organized. We need our total to be how much?
$2.
So it's important for me not to just keep up with how many coins I have. I also need to keep up with how much the value of the coins is. Because I'm eventually going to total the value, and it's got to be $2.17. Great question. Do you feel a little bit better? So it's not multiplication. It's just telling me how much the value is. Are we okay? Maybe I should do this instead. Would that be a little bit better so you know it's not multiplication? I don't know. Okay. So now let's break it down to our nickels. All right. It says there is 1 more dime than there are nickels. So I have how many dimes? So that's 1 more than nickels, which means how many nickels? 5, because I have 1 more dime, right? 1 more dime than nickels. Cool. Sometimes it gets confusing.
Oh.
If I have 5 nickels, and nickels are 5 cents each, what's my monetary value?
25 cents.
I have 25 cents, because 5 times 5 cents is 25. We're okay so far? And then the very last one is quarters. It says I have 2 more quarters than dimes. 2 more quarters than
So
dimes.
there's 8.
So 8 quarters. Very good. 8 quarters. And what monetary value is 8 quarters?
$2.
$2. 25, 50, 75, $1. 25, 50, 75, $2. Okay. Can I now add up and see if I get this total?
Yes.
So $2 plus 60 cents, $2.60. What do I already know?
It's too much.
Too much. What do I do with letter C?
Cross it out.
And D
Cross it out.
and E.
Cross it out.
We okay so far?
Absolutely.
Okay? For the sake of time, I'm just gonna tell you, we would have had to work through B. It would have been too big. So really, A is correct. Eventually, you would have gotten the right answer. If you take the time to do it right, and you take it piece by piece, this one is worth the points and worth the time. Okay? But if you said, Miss Just, that one's just too much, what could you do?
B.
B and move on. But I'm always going to suggest to you, if the answers are in order and you can easily do PETA, plug it in, try it. Okay? You guys good? All right, let's keep going. Geometry, super easy and super important.
Okay.
We are on page 145. 145. Okay, so no more PETA or plugging it in. That's only for algebra, okay? When it comes to geometry, you're gonna see a lot of pictures and you're gonna use your eyes. So, let's take a look at this angle here. Does this angle look like it's 90 degrees?
No.
No.
No. Is it bigger than 90 or is it smaller than 90?
Smaller.
Smaller. I want you to keep that in mind when I show you the next page. Let's flip it to 146. Question number 1. Okay, it gives me a picture, thank you so much, ACT. And my question says, what is the measure of angle NLM? Does that look like what we just saw? So is NLM 90 degrees?
No.
No.
Bigger or smaller?
Smaller.
Smaller. So what am I automatically going to do with C
Cross it out.
and D
Cross it out.
and E?
Cross it out.
Ah. Now, is it way down here at 30 degrees?
No.
Or is it almost to 90 degrees?
Almost.
Almost to 90 degrees, what's the right answer?
B.
B.
How easy was that?
Easy.
Sometimes this stuff here, blah, 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 is too much. It's confusing. Use the picture, read the question. It only cares about this angle. If I know this angle's almost 90, boom, I'm done. Okay? Some questions are way easier than we give it credit for. Let's take a look at number 2. We're going to do the same strategy. Okay? It tells me AB is this, CD is this. It says the area of the triangle ADC. This triangle, the area inside of it is how much? 240. If I were to draw an imaginary line, does that give me approximately the same size triangle? And if we said this one is 240, how much is this one? 240. Very easy. Okay, 240 plus 240 is 480. And do I still have this section here to worry about?
Yeah.
Okay, so what am I going to do with letter G? Cross it off. And I still have this section, so it can't be less than that. So what about F?
Cross it out.
Cross it off. Is it going to be this crazy number out here
No.
if I only have this little bit left? Probably not. Did we eliminate it down to a 50-50 shot? Much better. For the sake of time, we're not going to go through it, but do you have a better idea of geometry and ballparking? Okay, great. Come back to me. Good. Okay, let's keep going to page 149, angles and lines. It is very important to know the degrees of a straight line. How much is a straight line? 180 degrees. If this one is 120 and this whole thing is 180, how much is X? Very good. 180 minus 120 is 60. This is what we call supplementary. A supplementary angle adds up to 180. I'm going to show you a very cool trick, okay? In your notes somewhere, I want you to draw, I want you to draw a C, and I want you to draw an S, somewhere in your notes, okay? The S, watch me carefully, the S, your supplementary, will always add up to how much? 180 degrees. Supplementary is always how much? 180 degrees. Watch me with my C. My C will always add up to how much? 90 degrees. Complementary, 90. Supplementary, 180.
Oh.
Do you feel so much better? If I said, what is complementary to this, blah, 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 it doesn't even matter, then you automatically know complementary only has to add up to how much? 90. But if I said, what angle is supplementary to this, then you know supplementary has to add up to 180. Do you feel so much better? You wish Miss Jess was your math teacher. All right. You'll just get to use me for what I have time for, but I'm so glad I get to be here. Okay, so let's also talk about some simple stuff real quick. So a vertical angle, when it's directly across from each other, they are always equal, okay? So notice here, B and D are always what? Equal. They're vertical angles. And A and C are always equal. Vertical angles. Let's come over to this side. Okay, super important. If you have two parallel lines that are intersected by another line, we have a lot of possible vertical angles. Okay, A will be equal to what? What's it vertical from?
C.
C. Very good. And E will be equal to G. And B will be equal to D. And H will be equal to F. How do you feel about vertical angles? Super easy, okay? This is an actual question that you might encounter. Blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. The question says, which of the following list includes all angles that are supplementary to what? Supplementary to angle A. What does supplementary tell me to do? 180. So it has to be on the same straight line as A. Which one is on the same straight line as A? B. Same straight line. Does everybody see what I just did? Okay, but it doesn't just want to know B. It wants to know all of the ones that are supplementary to A. What is B vertical with? Oh, good. Okay, so A here also is kind of the same thing as E, which means on the same straight line as E, what's on the same straight line as E? F. And what's vertical to F? Is there an answer choice that says B, D, F, H? B, D, F, H. Ding, ding, ding. Supplementary is 180, and vertical angles are equal. You guys okay with that? You sure? How do you feel about geometry so far? Okay, here's the thing. I did not get to a couple of really, really important things. So we're going to start off our science day on Thursday, finishing up a little bit of the math section that I still want to go over, just because I was a little bit late today. But I do still want you to start with some homework tonight. And I also want to direct you to something that you don't have access to on the ACT. So this is really important. Look at me real quick. Most of your math tests, you have a formula chart, right? When you took your STAR test, like the last 5 years in a row, they gave you a formula chart and you knew what you needed to use and you figured it out, right? Do you get a formula chart on the ACT? No. You don't. So you are literally responsible for memorizing what your area equations are, your y equals mx plus b. All of these formulas kind of need to be swimming around in your head. So what do I probably want you to do before Saturday?
Memorize.
Study and memorize some formulas. So here is something really important for you. I want you to write this down. Starting on page 166, all right? Page 166. Through a lot of pages. It's 166, keep going, all the way through 172. This is your formula chart. What are you probably going to do with these pages? Study them before Saturday, okay? Then I want you to write this homework down. Everybody get ready. Homework for tonight will be graded by Thursday, okay? We're going to start with our fundamental drill, which was on page 123. 123. And then we're going to go to our algebra drill, which is page 140. Sorry. Last one, geometry drill, which is page, geometry drill is page 173. Okay? 123.